Ever catch yourself, like, wondering what it'd be like if AI could analyze itself? Kind of like, I don't know, a robot reading its own instruction manual.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild thought.
Totally.
Huh.
But guess what? Today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're diving into NotebookLM using NotebookLM.
Meta, right?
You got it.
Yeah.
And because we are NotebookLM, this isn't just any deep dive. It's like we're holding up a mirror.
Trying to understand what we see, yeah.
Yeah, doubt.
And what we're seeing is a really powerful tool, something that can change how people learn and explore. So how about instead of just explaining what NotebookLM is, we show you what it can do.
Okay, love that. So let's say you're super into AI history.
Close to our digital hearts, right?
For sure. And you've got all this stuff, research papers, articles, maybe even some YouTube lectures bookmarked. What's next?
Well, you could say you upload all of that to NotebookLM.
Mm,
And we're not just talking about, like, PDFs.
right.
We're talking text documents, slides, even public YouTube videos. We use the transcripts.
Yay.
It's all about bringing your information together in one place.
50 sources at once, and those sources can be up to 500,000 words each. Not bad, right? But it's not just about how much you can upload, it's about what you can actually do with it all.
Exactly. This is where things get really interesting.
Right, because you're not just looking at a mountain of information, you can actually ask NotebookLM questions about your sources.
And you get answers straight from those sources.
Yeah.
With citations.
Wow, talk about a research game changer.
Right. It's like having an assistant who can instantly pull out the exact information you need.
Okay, that is incredibly useful for, well, pretty much everyone. But what if you're stuck on something creative, not just research? Let's say you need a really good title for a blog post, something catchy.
We got you.
About sustainable living.
Instead of just throwing random phrases at you, we analyze everything. Then we suggest titles that are relevant, attention-grabbing, and fit with your content, like Green Living Made Easy, or Reduce Your Footprint, Amplify Your Life. We're all about finding the perfect words.
So we've established NotebookLM is like that super smart friend who always has the answer. But since this is the age of podcasts, we had to, step it up a notch.
For sure. And that brings us to one of our, I guess you could say, buzziest features, the ability to create audio overviews from those sources you've uploaded.
Yeah, this is the feature that people are really excited about. It's like having your own personalized, on-demand podcast episode. But how does it actually work?
Okay, so picture this. You're reading this really interesting article. Let's say it's about the future of cities.
Okay.
But instead of just bookmarking it and hoping you'll remember it later,
Yeah.
you ask NotebookLM for an audio overview.
Okay.
And what you get back is this conversational summary. It's like you're listening to a podcast, right? Two hosts, just chatting about the most important points.
I love that it feels like a conversation, just like we're doing now.
Exactly.
So for now, it's only in English.
For now, yes.
Yeah.
But, our developers are always working on new languages. There's even talk about different accents. Imagine your AI podcast host sounding like they're calling in from London.
Or Australia. I love that. It's interesting how this feature, creating a podcast-style summary, has totally changed how people are engaging with information. And it really gets at what Riza Martin, the lead on our team, said about how people want more control over their information. They want to customize their experience.
Yeah.
And speaking of control, how does NotebookLM work? I mean, we've talked about what it can do, but I think our listeners are ready for a peek behind the curtain.
You know what they say? Every magician has their secrets. But I can tell you that as of, July 2024, NotebookLM is powered by Google's Gemini 1.5 Pro.
Which, for those who aren't AI experts, means we're using one of the most advanced language models out there. It's how NotebookLM understands not just the words in your sources, but the meaning behind them.
And it's not just about the sources either. NotebookLM learns from you, from how you're interacting with the information, your questions, the notes you take, even the stuff you highlight. It's like we're building a shared understanding, piece by piece.
It's like we're putting together this huge, complex puzzle of information, bringing in pieces from all over the place. But even with the most advanced AI, even something as amazing as Gemini 1.5 Pro, there are still, some rough edges.
Yeah, that's true. We're always learning, always improving. But there are definitely areas where we're still under construction.
Like, for instance, I've heard some buzz about a digital recycling bin. Or, well, the lack of one, actually.
Ah, yes, right. As of now, when a note is deleted, it's gone. So, friendly word of warning. Double check before you hit that delete button.
Good advice. And while we're talking about things to keep in mind, it's probably a good time to mention accuracy. As much as we try to get things right, We're only as good as the information we're given.
Exactly.
So if someone feeds us biased information or just plain wrong information, that's going to be reflected in our analysis.
Which is why it's so important to think critically about your sources.
Yeah.
Be aware of any potential blind spots. And keep in mind, even the way you ask a question can change the answers you get back. The clearer and more specific your question, the more accurate and helpful our response will be.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it understand a badly worded research question. So help us help you. Give us those clear questions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And speaking of things that could be clear, let's talk about chat history for a sec.
Right, that's been a popular request.
Right now, we treat every session like a brand new conversation. So if you ask this amazing question, but you forget to write down the answer, well,
You have to ask again next time.
exactly. But don't worry, the team is working on this. We hope to have a better memory soon. But on the plus side, because we're designed to be a personalized tool, we don't store or share your information.
Right, everything stays private, all those sources you upload, the notes you take, everything.
It all stays within your NotebookLM experience.
Right.
Privacy is super important to us.
Absolutely. And while we can process a lot of information from what you upload, we're all about keeping things private. We're like that friend you trust with your most important stuff, careful and never sharing without permission. It really is like having this secure vault for your ideas, and only you have the key.
Exactly. Which actually brings us back to something we talked about earlier, that idea of using AI to make podcasts from your own personal stuff.
Oh, right. Because it's one thing to get an audio overview of like a research paper, but what about your life? All those thoughts you have, maybe your fitness journey, or even just a recap of a conversation you want to remember.
It's amazing when you think about it. You could use it for self-reflection, for storytelling, even for, like, historical preservation.
Yeah.
Imagine future generations listening to their great-great-grandparents' AI-generated audio diaries.
Whoa. Okay, now that's an idea. But it does bring up some big questions, right? Like, who owns those stories? How do you make sure they're accurate when it's something as personal as, well, someone's life?
Yeah, those are really important questions, ones we're thinking about a lot. And there aren't any easy answers. But that's part of what makes this so exciting. We're not just building tools. We're changing how we interact with information, with ourselves, even with each other.
It really is like we're exploring uncharted territory here.
Probably.
And we get to help figure it all out as we go, which maybe is the biggest takeaway from all of this.
I think so. Because NotebookLM and AI as a whole, it's about way more than just, doing things faster or automating stuff. It's about pushing boundaries, questioning what we think we know. It's about constantly learning and discovering.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, to everyone listening, we'll leave you with this. What will you explore with NotebookLM? What new perspectives will you find? Every journey starts with a single step, a question, a source, a dive into the unknown, and we'll be here ready to dive in with you whenever you are.